Hello and welcome to this lecture. There are different types or flavors of the NoSQL databases. Not all of them operate under the same principles. In this lecture, we are going to look at some of the broad categories of the NoSQL databases. We'll start with the document store. This type of database stores its data in a structured format such as XML or JSON. The documents are usually organized in collections or databases. By doing it this way, it allows you to group similar documents all together. Individual documents can have unique structures, so you don't have to have the same fields in each document. Each document usually has a specific key. This allows you to retrieve the document quickly. Also, it is possible to query a document by the specific fields contained inside. The next category is the key value store. Typically, you have a key you can query by, and then you have the value to that key. The only disadvantage or drawback with this type of NoSQL database is that you can only usually query by the key. You can't query by anything else. However, you can get around this because some of the databases allow you to define more than one key. So by defining more than one key, you can use that to probably get around the disadvantage. The key value store are sometimes used alongside relational databases to help in caching. So let's have a look at the next type or category. The next type we're going to talk about is big table or tabular databases. Bigtable is named after Google's own implementation of the big table. Each row in a tabular database can have a different set of columns. They are also referred to as tables with wide column stores. What that means is that they are designed to accommodate large columns. The rows in a tabular database are usually versioned. That means they've got version numbers. The next type or category we're going to talk about is the graph databases. Basically, graph databases is a database that uses graph structures for semantic queries, using nodes, edges, and also using the properties to represent and store data. Also, the graph databases are designed for data that is best represented by interconnected nodes. A typical example is a series of road intersections. The next type we've got is the object databases. The object databases are tightly integrated with object-oriented programming languages. The object databases act as a persistent layer and stores objects directly. What that means is that you can store the objects from your programming language directly into the object database. You can also link objects together through pointers. In this course, we are going to be using the document database to illustrate the concept of the NoSQL databases. So that's it for this lecture on the types of NoSQL databases. Thank you for watching, and bye for now. One more quick thing before I wrap up this lecture. Just wanted to show you just an illustration of the some of the types or categories of NoSQL databases that I mentioned in the lecture. So this is just a simple illustration showing the increasing complexity of the types of NoSQL databases. So you start with the key value store, and examples here is Redis or React, and then we've got the wide column store, which you have Apache HBase, you've got Cassandra, and then you've got the document store, which includes examples of MongoDB and CouchDB. We are going to be using CouchDB for the duration of this lecture, of this course, sorry. And then you've got the graph store, and this gives you an example of who uses the graph store type of NoSQL databases. And this is the increasing complexity of the types of NoSQL databases. So that's it. Thanks for watching. Hello and welcome to this lecture. What NoSQL can do. There's a lot of possibilities where you can implement NoSQL to make life a lot easier for your database solutions. For example, many NoSQL databases can be used to easily create web applications with customizable fields. With NoSQL databases, you don't really have to worry about a schema if there's any schema changes, and you can use index. You can use index in the fields. For an example, if you have an application that keeps track of comments on articles, you can add things on the fly. For example, you can add votes, things like votes later. Another possibility of the NoSQL database is that it can be used as a caching layer. This is useful when used alongside a traditional database. You can use that to keep traffic away from the traditional database. And you can do this by writing code that will pull data away from relational database and then store the data inside the NoSQL database. Then you can use NoSQL for your API to access the data. Many NoSQL databases can also store binary files. With NoSQL databases, you really don't need to worry about file system permissions. NoSQL databases frequently will extract all the metadata about a file. Metadata basically is information about data. So the NoSQL databases can extract all the metadata about a file and allow you to query by it. So it allows you to query using that metadata information. You can also use NoSQL database to attach other data to specific files. NoSQL databases also allow you to serve full web applications. So things like your HTML, your CSS and JavaScript can be served directly from NoSQL. You can use the permissions you have in NoSQL to control who can read and write data. You can also use NoSQL databases to build new applications completely from scratch. So these are some of the things you can do using NoSQL. This is just an illustration or a sample of what the possibilities of NoSQL databases are. There's a lot more you can do with it. This is just kind of like a drop in the ocean of what NoSQL databases can do. So that's it for this lecture. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.